The Latin word for assessment is assidere, meaning to sit by or watch over. Assessment in maths has a direct impact on student learning. By sitting with and watching over students, teachers can encourage them to reach their highest potential and provide valid information for teachers, parents and schools to evaluate the learning process. The Australian curriculum suggests that by the end of year 3, number and algebra students should be able to recognise the connection between addition and subtraction, solve problems using efficient strategies for multiplication, and model and represent unit fractions. So how are we going to assess their ability and support them through this learning journey? By simultaneously connecting the assessment strategies of portfolios, anecdotal notes during observation, and interviewing are some ways a teacher can watch over student learning and plan for future teaching. Formative assessments enable students, teachers and schools to gain an indication of student achievement and teacher achievement. Giving students a portfolio to add work to throughout the term demonstrates student progression with continuous documentation of student achievement over time. This will not only assess the skills and procedures in maths, but their attitudes and values towards the subject too. Interviewing and observation as assessment techniques allow teachers to make personal observations, to sit by students through the problem-solving process, to analyse the specific needs of students so personalised learning and differentiation procedures can be placed to meet the needs of all students. So, how can we ensure one-to-one interviews as assessments are as beneficial and supportive of student learning as possible? Let's take the example of content descriptor from the Grade 3 Australian curriculum, investigate the conditions required for a number to be odd or even, and identify odd or even numbers. By using unifix cubes and observing students as you ask them questions or skip counting, while constantly reverting to the whys and hows, students use metacognitive skills to become aware of their thinking processes and further make sense of the problems during the assessment process. It also allows teachers to make certain assumptions on their mathematical understanding, such as what method of thinking did they use? Did they understand the processes that they used? Did they find it difficult consolidating place value? Making anecdotal notes throughout the interview while observing students can help provide feedback for future learning and understand where each student is at developmentally. Although using interview as an assessment technique in maths is not easy to moderate and time-consuming, according to educational theorist Alexander Austin, students value private time with teachers, and how much teachers can gauge from a short time with students is incredible. The Australian curriculum suggests that Grade 3 students should be able to apply place value and partition, rearrange and regroup numbers to at least 10,000. Observing students as they tackle particular problems while making anecdotal notes on their developmental level is a probing technique to understand exactly where the students are going wrong or if they're being challenged at all. Perhaps it will reveal that students do not understand how to carry numbers in the hundreds or thousands or have difficulty reading and writing large numbers, which is vital information for teachers to use for the learning of this content descriptor, as well as understanding the mental patterns used during the process. This information is significant and can be used in parent-teacher meetings or for whole school reports. It is important for teachers, however, to explain to students exactly why and what they're observing, as students may not perform accordingly if they feel like they're being watched. Using portfolios as an assessment tool is a way for teachers, parents and students to evaluate their work over time. A maths portfolio could include work samples, reflections on the maths practice, anecdotal notes from the teacher, quizzes and samples of group work. Having students choose what work goes into their portfolio will give them a sense of ownership and pride over their learning, to encourage them to engage and perform during maths tasks. Portfolios are both summative and formative in nature and provide comprehensive illustrations of student performance. When connected in accord with the Australian curriculum, a portfolio can demonstrate the gradual progression of student learning. For example, students would take a diagnostic test diagnostic pre-test in attempting to model and represent fractions in halves, quarters, thirds at the start of the term. The teacher can then add notes throughout the learning process and probe for strategies to encourage students to reach their highest potential, as well as giving students a sense of dignity about their portfolio. Portfolios can be difficult to execute without a given criteria because they are innately personal and can be time-consuming for teachers to sit by every student through the learning process. Imperative in the assessment process is record keeping. Teachers must keep succinct and valuable formal and informal records on every child to reflect on their progress in maths and justify decisions about what to teach them, as well as have hands-on information when reporting to parents or other faculty. Robert Ray suggests that having a clipboard with students' names that you can add notes to and having hands-on checklists are essential tools in the record-keeping process. Furthermore, it is vital that records are kept private and locked for only you to use and communicate on your own accord. Using these particular assessment strategies throughout the learning of number and algebra will benefit students greatly, as it will advance their metacognitive skills during assessment, give them ownership and pride over their learning, as well as give teachers vital information in planning and personalising the learning of maths, so each student has an equal opportunity to reach their developmental potential. Thank you.